Kate Sawstead right there.
Now, Sawstead is long and has a great stick, and that's the kind of a pickoff that really will help Virginia. Again, you know, if you want to, you always talk about sticking the passing lane. That was a perfect example right there.
Highly touted out of Dallas, Texas.
That has become a hotbed for recruiting. You know, Texas, big state, many big schools with great athletes, and seeing a lot of Texas players who are impact in Division I.
Kraus. Aiken, Virginia, still trying to find answers against the zone. It has not been elementary by any means.
You can hear the Lehigh talking to the defense from the bench.
Good ball movement now. Laviano searching, trying to thread the needle, couldn't get it to go. Great backtracking there from Schick. I believe he got the stick on it. Could have been another Lehigh close, but
well, their defense is so well schooled in taking away that cross feed. You know, I can see Sean Kerwin kind of getting a little frustrated with his offense. Their impatience of trying to force the ball across the zone.
Sawstead swiftly scooping that ground ball, vacuuming it up into his pole, and here's a
backside
rip, and it does not go. Good call, Doug. Helping the play-by-play man out there, Matt Moore, just wide into the left. It always gets the crowd too.
Yeah, you know, maybe that's my officiating. I'm always thinking about, you know, follow the flight of the ball. You know, don't ever raise your hands and then have to take them back down.
Here's another missed clear from Lehigh. It's been the one area they've struggled. Credit the Virginia Ride for a lot of that, but if we're looking at clears, just 11 of 18 now for Lehigh.
And that's where you saw Ryan Conrad's effectiveness. He pitched that ground ball up and was able to get the clear. You know, Lehigh's got to be a little bit tired. They're obviously not probably playing a lot of the same players at both ends of the field. You've got to wonder.
Lock and load off the pipe was Kraus. Box out for Matt Moore to maintain possession for the Hoos.
Yeah, that's going to get Virginia full possession of 80 seconds.
Moore's been quiet ever since that first goal. Conrad now behind the cage. He finds Herring. Aiken not quite free. Here's the double team coming out of the zone, and now Virginia's going to draw their first penalty of the day, the first tag to Lehigh. And there we're going to have it. Save made by Spence, but EMO on the way.
You know, Virginia continues to shoot high off those wings, and Spence is doing an excellent job of tracking the high shot.
So Matt Douglas trots in along with Michael Hagenberger, part of the EMO units on the defensive side for Lehigh. We'll take a look at this one. Just sandwiched right there was Moore.
Yeah, that looked like, you know, I'm sure Lehigh feels that was a kind of a, you know, as they often say, a nickel dimer, so to speak. You know, it was a hole, but it didn't look like he kept the hold on. But once you get up under the arm and lift, a lot of times you're going to get that call.
Under 7 to go. It will be a 1-minute penalty. It's already started ticking.
Yeah.
45 seconds on the penalty currently. And Virginia easily dispossessed. Just
Laviano,
lazy stick by Laviano.
Yeah, he was indecisive about making the pass, and the ball just popped out of his stick.
Eddie Buchholz taking it away from him. And now Lehigh, they can maneuver through midfield. They should be clear of danger on the very brief EMO, and now Lars Tiffany beckoning the official for something.
He's talking about an offsides. And they missed it.
So Lehigh gets away with one right there.
They're going to contend that they were subbing behind the play through the box, but it looked like they had two behind for a number of seconds.
Mike Benito released. He comes out of the sin bin and back into the action for Lehigh.
If you're Sean Kerwin, you have to be frustrated. You never really got into your play on man up. You never had a chance to get into a set and attack the defense, and the ball just comes out of Laviano's stick.
Lehigh behind the cage, trying to go to work on Sawstead, the freshman.
Interesting that they put Salstead, the freshman, on Fitzpatrick, who was probably the best of the attackmen for Lehigh.
There's a shimmy and a lift check delivered right there, and that's going to grant Virginia possession. Well done there defensively.
Good anticipation.
Greco for Aiken, who's taking up the role to try to be the clear man and uses those long strides, shields the ball, and a goal here for Virginia would be
with the 80-second clock,
especially looking at the time remaining.
Right, but there's still, because it's a one-goal game, there's no reason for Lehigh to get out of the zone because, again, they've been able to make Virginia possess the ball for a long time and been able to control the shots that Virginia's taken. So there's no real reason for Lehigh to get out of the zone and suddenly jump into man unless they get behind by maybe 2 or 3 goals.
Matt Moore burrowing. Now for Conrad. Quick ball movement. Here comes the curl and the rip from Michael Kraus. Make it 4 for the junior. He's been on fire here, especially in the second half. It's a 2-goal lead from Virginia.
Looked like a little extra man rotation. You could see Connor step off the crease, try to get a quick overload. So you go Kraus to Moore to Aiken, and then Michael Kraus on the finish. So you can see the rotation, and you can see Lehigh trailing 45, trailing Kraus, able to get his hands free.
Kraus in the left hand, potent for Virginia. They're eyeing their first victory of the year. Back after this on ACC Network Extra. .407 to go in regulation. Virginia leading Lehigh by 2. Looking ahead for the Cavaliers on their schedule. Their third game will come against High Point. That's right around the corner. Quick turnaround. Monday action. So thought it was going to be even a briefer turnaround, Saturday to Monday, but due to the shift in game time to Friday night, Cavaliers a little bit of extra rest. But High Point, really one of the stories of lacrosse thus far, defeating number 2 Duke. And that was a big breakthrough when they beat Virginia a few years back, and that was a nice step for the program, and they continue to make their mark.
Well, they, along with Richmond, are the 2 top teams in the SoCon division, and High Point having to play tomorrow, I think they would have rather preferred Virginia to play tomorrow as well. So a little advantage for Virginia with 1 extra day, and High Point plays a game against Drexel tomorrow.
We will have that game for you on ACC Network Extra. Swing for Connors. Connors the pole, lock and load, high and into the net.
Well, that's 2 assists for Justin Swank on face-off wins, and I talked about the fatigue factor for Lehigh. You have to feel with only 1 face-off man the whole game. Gaffney taking all the draws, and certainly did a lot of defense played by Lehigh in the second half. They may have lost a step in recovery.
Schwenk right there wrestling it through cleanly, and those 2 clean wins have resulted in Virginia goals, Doug, as you just mentioned. And in that time, Jared Connors, who very effective and very accurate, coming down Main Street.
You ask a goalie, the toughest shot to stop is from a defenseman. You got a 6'4", 6'5" defenseman with a long pole, with a full running start and release step in, and certainly one of the hardest shots of all to try for a goalie to track. But a huge goal for Virginia. And credit Justin Swank with 2 assists in the second half.
Outscoring Lehigh 6-1 here in the second. But that changes right here as Lehigh responds. Their second of the fourth quarter.
We talked about what a warrior the Gaffney is, taking all the draws tonight, and he turned right around, and again he and Gaffney have had a great one-on-one battle. Gaffney wins 1, Schwenk wins 1, and he gets a goal for his team right after the 2-goal run by Virginia.
Beautiful shot from that far wing.
Not to anticipate what Coach Casillas would do, he may decide to stay with his own, but at some point, he may have to go ahead and do his matchup, and that's maybe when Craig Schick could be even more effective. I would think they might isolate him on the ball and play shut-off and let him go to work.
With that goal, Rye now has 2 and 2, 4-point outing here in Charlottesville. For Tristan Rye, the senior attackman, still loose on the far sidelines. Players in a scrum, and we get a whistle, and we'll wait for the signal, and it's going to be Virginia possession.
Had a major scrum over on the sideline with a single official, trying to pick up the ball and also pick up the action. So it's important that the two officials on the far side, try to get over and help a little bit. I can see Coach Tiffany over there trying to help as well.
Here's where the strategy comes into play, Doug. Do you think Virginia lets this 63 seconds, which is now on the shot clock, whittle down, or did they look for what the defense gives them? A 2-goal lead with 3 minutes to go.
Well, if you're Lehigh, you know how much time you have to play defense. And so, again, the clock clarifies possession as opposed to waiting for the officials to put on the 30-second.
See if they extend the zone a little bit.
Well, the other question is, Virginia gets inside 10 seconds or gets to 5. Will they just roll the ball to the end line? And a lot of teams are going to sub a pole before the time is up to get their defensive group on. So Virginia may choose just to run an offensive midfielder off and get a pole even before the time is expired.
More for Conrad. 20 on the shot clock. A duo back and forth. Matt Moore, the sophomore, finding Aiken. There's the rifle. Dox Aiken from his favorite spots on the lacrosse field delivers the damage. 11-8. We'll take another look.
Yeah, I'm watching the zone. Again, everything in the zone is based on anticipation of the next pass and getting stick side. And the last couple goals Virginia scored, you can see Lehigh's frustration, just not able to get above the shooter's hands.
Aiken using the ground and the bounce right there to his advantage on the shot.
What are the face-offs now, Luke, in terms of numbers?
14-8, still in favor of Lehigh.
Yeah, but that was, that's a much closer number because, again, coming into the half, so Virginia's only lost 2 more this half. And again, the key to Justin Swink's success is the clean wins forward. They got fast break goals for Virginia.
And also, some of that ground has been made up by the turnovers caused by Virginia. 20 turnovers for Lehigh compared to 12 for the Cavaliers. And then the clears, 11 of 18 is what the Mountain Hawks have been. The Hoos, 15 of 17. Lehigh. Yeah, still 2 minutes left. Got to go a little bit more swiftly here on offense as they take a shot topside, which misses just wide, coming from Mickey Fitzpatrick. They do have the run out and will get a timeout coming from the Lehigh bench. Kevin Cassis wants to talk it over.
Well, this is again where where your 2 top attackmen, your 2 senior leaders, you don't necessarily have the player of that caliber to give the ball to. You need it. This is a situation. This is when you need your go-to guys. And if Pettit and Spence were in the game, you would have someone to take the ball off the end line and create offense. I have a lot of admiration for this group, the way they played tonight without those 2 players, and give Coach Cassis and his staff a lot of credit for their preparation coming into this game.
Bry has been as advertised. Tubadell has been impressive to me as well with 2 goals and an assist. And then just well-distributed scoring throughout the lineup, hanging with Virginia toe-to-toe from start to finish in this one, and holding the lead for a great deal of regulation.
Well, if you know the history of Coach Cassis in terms of his pedigree coming from high school all the way to his coaching at Lehigh, a 3-time All-American at Duke, world team player, world team coach, one of the great players in the history of Duke lacrosse. Now, just this past year, inducted into the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame. His team reflects his toughness and his determination. And talking to him last night, and then talking to him again on the field, he obviously has his players, believing in what he's preaching to them about the game of lacrosse and how they should play.
Some of the numbers right here showing up on your screen. 11 saves for Alex Rode, the Virginia goaltender. And then the clearing game is what we've gone over plenty of times on the broadcast thus far. Virginia, 15 of 17 clears. That will make head coach Lars Tiffany smile this week in practice.
Well, I also think Virginia has shot the ball better. Obviously, Michael Krause and Doc Aiken have been able to step in and clear their hands, which in the first half they were not able to do. And Lehigh did a great job of forcing Virginia off their shooting spots. But like you said, turnovers, broken clears, and Virginia being better on face-offs and some clean wins have given them the lead. And
they've also cleaned up penalties in the second half.
Only 1 in the second half. And so now I would have to think that Lehigh, if Virginia gets possession, will have to come out and play aggressive man-to-man.
Starting this possession, initiating at least on the end line, Mickey Fitzpatrick.
that's her go-to guy, Fitzpatrick. Looking for short stick matchups. Double short sticks behind.
Got one currently with Harris defending. Here's a nice feed into the interior. Tombanello couldn't grasp it cleanly in his stick, and now Virginia comes out away with it. Speeding through midfield right there, John Fox. And now off for Matt Moore, who will use his stick skills on the far sideline. And now Virginia will certainly try to milk some clock. And here comes the first double team from Lehigh of the day away from the cage.
Yeah, they're doubling with short and a pole and having the goalie come out and play shutoff. Some teams will use the goalie, but most of the time the goalie will pick a player. This is, Virginia can essentially take half the game left.
Virginia has the athletes to burn that clock. Timeout is going to be called by Lars Tiffany. Saw that there might have been an ounce of danger on that far
And Coach Tiffany,
corner.
that's the first time out, I believe, that Virginia's called in the game. They didn't use any in the first half. We talk about rule changes real quick, Luke, and we haven't had a chance to talk about the new dive rule. I know that, it's been
in the crease, yeah.
We haven't had a dive yet, so it's something we haven't had to discuss, but it's a big new change in the game. And I think one of the things that people always say, what constitutes a good dive or an illegal dive, and it's all about the goal mouth. It's if a player projects himself into the goal, toward the goalie and the goal mouth, that's going to be a penalty. So it's not just a turnover, it's a penalty. And if you dive across the top of the crease or up the crease line and land, on the ground after the ball goes to the goal, it's a good goal. So, that's the one, I guess, terminology that I read in the rule book and I've heard from other officials. It's the goal mouth that determines whether or not it's a good goal or not.
It's not going to be black and white. It's going to be a judgment call, but something the officials are going to be up for the task. I mean, it should be pretty explanatory.
Well, the only thing about the goal mouth rule will be if the player's pushed.
We'll take a look at a milestone coming from the Virginia vantage point at Dox Aiken. Currently with 73 career goals, 2 of those coming tonight, moves to 10th all-time among UVA midfielders.
He passes the Cali rifle, as we used to call him when he was here.
Kid, yes.
Yeah,
when
he was here.
Cali
Cannon from California, big, strong midfielder, very much like a Dox Aiken, just so strong and so powerful. And of course, Doc Aiken's reached that total tonight with essentially the whole season to go. Just a phenomenal
and a senior
player.
campaign as well ahead of him.
There's one coach I've talked to that doesn't agree that he's the best midfielder right now in the country. Pat Spencer being the best offensive player, Doc Aiken being the best midfielder.
Kraus for Conrad, far wing.
And that's a great matchup for Virginia with Conrad against a short stick. Somebody play keep away.
Cradle so well. Here comes the double team. See if Lehigh can trap the Virginia midi, and they do cause a turnover right here. 33 seconds to go. Lehigh really has to motor and hope for a miracle. And here's a pass which is picked off by Greco. Greco's going to scoot to his sidelines. 22 seconds remaining. Lars Tiffany directing traffic.
And it's still the 22nd to clear, so you can essentially play catch at your defensive end, and then if you need to, just kind of hoist it downfield with 20 seconds to go in the game.
So Virginia going to pick up win number 1 of the 2019 campaign in front of their home fans. Lehigh, a valiant opponent, but just not enough in the second half as the Cavaliers dictate in quarters number 3 and number 4. Doug, let's wrap this one up. What'd you see out there today in a very competitive mid-February non-conference tilt?
Well, when Lehigh gets Spence and Pettit back, they're going to be an excellent team and a team I think you might see at the end of the year in a possible NCAA tournament. For Virginia, a much-needed win. Certainly credibility on the defensive end today, and they've got a big game against a very talented High Point team coming in here on Monday.
Take a look at some final numbers. Kraus leading the way for Virginia with 4 goals and 1 assist. Laviano with 2 goals and an assist. Aiken comes through with 4 points, 2 tallies, and 2 assists for Lehigh. Rye leading the way with 2 goals and 2 assists for the visitors. As we go ahead and tie a bow on this one, that will do it for us. For Doug Terring, I'm Luke Neer, saying so long from Klockner Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia, where Virginia wins by the final score of 11-8. To watch this entire game on a replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.